Nice wood.
Did you hit record?
Yeah.
It's on.
Wow.
Okay.
They're so far away.
I know, but it's the shop.
That feels nice.
Yeah, I made it for you.
Thank you.
So it is Michelle's birthday. Maybe somebody can guess how old she is.
No, don't guess.
We'll send you swag one day when we have it.
Whoever guesses right. I am a Capricorn. January 3rd. I'm a true Capricorn.
So what we wanted to do is kind of give a bit of a history of how we got to this place that we live. Um, we are both, well, we were, Michelle's originally from Calgary,
Yeah.
and
Alberta.
yeah, I actually grew up in and around the area where we've purchased this property.
Yeah.
So during the pandemic, we had the opportunity to spend some time actually out here at Tie Lake, and everything was so uncertain at the time. We didn't know how long we were staying. We just kind of packed everything up from Calgary and came out here and ended up staying in the area for about 6 months.
Yeah. Absolutely fell in love with it. I did. I mean, James is from here, but I didn't know that I could fall in love with the place as much as I fell in love with this place.
Yeah. So that period of time kind of gave us the opportunity to just rethink how we were living our lives. We had a great life in the city, but we just realized there's a different way to live.
Yeah.
So that kind of became one of our goals. And we then went on the hunt for property.
Yeah. We had a list of things that we knew that we wanted in a property. Number one was space.
Seclusion, privacy.
Yeah. Space. We wanted to be away from noise. Like coming from living in the city, it's so noisy. And I'm really sensitive to that kind of thing, like sirens and lights being on all the time. And so we knew we wanted to be somewhere that was far enough away from the highway
Yeah.
where it would be just that dead silence, aside from the birds, which you'll hear in all of our videos.
Yeah. Yeah. So because we spent so much time here when we were searching around the interior of the east and west Kootenays of British Columbia, we had a really hard time finding anything off the highway that was compared to this area.
Mm-hmm.
So it does make it a really magical place. And through our search, we found a property not too far from this one. I think it's 4 doors down.
Yeah, just like 4 or 5 acreages over.
Yeah,
Your property's over.
and we ended up in like a bidding war on that place. And through that process, we contacted the owners of this property because we were having issues even at being able to visit
Beautifully.
and view that property.
Yeah.
And the previous owners of this property told us they might be interested in selling.
Yeah.
And then,
It was very serendipitous.
yes, it was a total like meant to be kind of path.
Yeah. So our property is 3.5
Just
acres,
just over.
just over 3.5 acres. It backs onto Crown land, which for anybody who doesn't live in Canada, that is a federally owned land. So it's owned by the federal government. It cannot be purchased, as far as I know.
Rare occasions, there's parcels that come for sale.
Yeah.
So it's crown land, and it's actually in reference to the monarch. So on our land titles, it says Her
Her
Majesty,
Majesty the Queen owns
yeah,
it.
which they're gonna have to change to the king now.
Anyway, that's a story for another time. What it really means is that it's just a bunch of open space. We have.
Like actually over 90% of Canada is crown.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So when you see us walking the dogs and flying our drone out in the forest and the big open meadows, that's directly behind our property here, which we absolutely love. There's just a few people that walk back there, and it's just awesome.
Mm-hmm.
We love it. So let's talk a little bit about our previous lives, our city lives, which James mentioned we had a really good life in Calgary. We were both very successful in our careers. James owned a construction company which mostly focused on construction management. So he has a ton of construction experience, as I'm sure you could pick up from the work that he's been doing. But his job was basically running, managing the
More,
trades.
yeah, more management of the trades, running projects, coordination of everything, coordinating all the trades, the procurement of all the materials, just liaison between engineers, architects, designers, customers, really just being in between them and in the mix of everything. But yeah, general contractor is a good way to sum it up. But
Yeah, and you did all kinds of different things. He's built 5,000 square foot luxury homes in Calgary. He did some stores, including mine. So, my background is that I was a business owner of a retail store, and we had 3 locations. When I met James, I only had 1 location, and it was in a very shoddy building. And we soon moved to a more upscale building, which James renovated for me. And then within what 3 years, we had 2 more locations.
yeah, three
Within
stores.
yeah, I had 3 stores.
Hmm.
So moving here for me, that was the biggest hurdle was trying to figure out what I was going to do with my stores. They were up until COVID, they were incredibly successful. Um, I really enjoyed that job. I enjoyed running the stores. I enjoyed retail. I have a very long history of retail background, and yeah, I enjoyed all of it. But I enjoyed the solitude of nature and being away from the hustle and bustle more. So I had to make a very tough decision. And long story short, 2 years after we moved here,
Yeah, about 18 months.
yeah, after we moved here, I ended up selling my stores
Hmm.
to an awesome family, and they're still going and still running in Calgary right now. So it makes me really happy.
So on our property, since we've been here, we also just kind of wanted to go over all the cool things that we've done to improve it.
Yes.
That was one of the benefits of getting this place is in some ways was a fixer upper, although the previous owners had it for in their family for 50 years.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
a
so
generational.
they did a lot of work on the property over the years, subdivided it. It was originally 10 acres. But yeah, they they lived a relatively simple lifestyle, I think, as we do as well in comparison to a lot of people.
Yep.
Um, and
They
we,
raised an entire family of how many was there? 4 kids?
yeah.
Whole bunch of grandkids. Hi, Rita, when you're watching this.
Um, so yeah, really cool, and we feel exceptionally fortunate to
Yes.
have been able to end up where we are.
Hmm.
Um, and then we wanted to go over all the things, yeah, all the things that we've done on the property.
We've done a lot
Yeah,
in 2.5 years.
yeah.
So we moved here May 26th, 2021.
1 week earlier than possession.
Yeah, they let us come in 1 week earlier. We were so excited. Yeah, like literally packed everything up from our Calgary house into a U-Haul with the dogs. We got Jojo as a puppy 2 weeks before we moved here.
Maybe a little more,
Yeah,
maybe 3, but yeah, we got her because we were worried about Bobby and Clyde.
yeah. We knew we needed a guardian dog out here, especially with the little dogs. We didn't anticipate the rest of the animals that we got afterwards.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got Jojo right before we moved here. Moved in 26th of May 2021 and just got right to work.
Yeah. Yeah. So as a part of getting ready to move here, we really knew that we wanted to grow our own food.
Yeah.
I don't know why. What pushed us that
Well,
way?
one of the things that was on our list that we made reference to before of wants and needs for property was that we wanted to be able to grow our own food.
Yeah, we knew we wanted to build a greenhouse because we wanted to potentially do like a greenhouse around a house.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. We were watching some videos and um, documentaries on Apple TV about people in Switzerland, I think it was.
Yeah, somewhere in Europe.
Yeah, that were building greenhouses around their houses. So our brains just started like the gears just started going, and we decided we want to grow our own food. Now, a lot of you have seen the progress of that, and we will get to that. But the most important point is that I have never grown anything in my life until I moved here. So when people come by or ask me questions or I take them on garden tours, the most asked question I get is, how long have you been gardening? And the answer is, to this day, 3 years.
Yeah. Yeah, so in Calgary, the property had an existing greenhouse, which was like
Here.
a, a rough log framed structure with like a polyplastic, basically envelope to protect it from the elements and allow the sun to come through.
Mm-hmm.
And so we utilized that the first year.
Mm-hmm. It worked really well.
Yeah, it did. It worked
Yeah.
amazing. It was super hot in there.
Really hot in there.
Great location on the property.
Yeah, it was in the perfect location.
But because we knew that, we started like 150 seedlings or something
Yeah,
in Calgary.
Calgary.
Yeah.
So we went
under grow lights.
Under grow lights. So we went to a grow store in Calgary and just got bombarded with information from the owner. We totally scored the day that we went, and the owner was there and they just gave us all this information. We were loaded up on supplies. We actually had to go back there, I think, 3 more times to like refresh our memory and make sure we were doing the right thing. And we started all of our seedlings in Calgary and grew them to, I don't know, they're about this big in the little peat pods, the same way that I do them now.
Mm-hmm.
And when we moved here, we transferred them with us.
Moved them all, which was
Moved them
like
all, transferred,
the
yeah.
whole
And
thing. Your whole Jeep was full.
my whole Jeep was full of seedlings and plants, house plants. And yeah, within the first, well, I guess we waited until after the May long weekend, which is customary to do in Canada before you plant outside, is wait. No matter what, you have to wait till after May long weekend. So anything could happen weather-wise. And we put all the seedlings and planted them into the greenhouse.
First, we built planters.
First, James built me some custom cedar planters. And we found the garden center, and we got some soil and replenished all of the soil. So we did all that and we grew a lot of stuff in there that first year.
Yeah, that was your first go.
That was our first go.
That was a pretty successful.
It was very successful.
So after that, we
got chickens.
Yeah, we got chickens in there within the first few weeks of being here.
Our friend Paul, who we've mentioned before, and he's been helping James with the geothermal greenhouse, he showed up.
It was our housewarming present.
It was our housewarming present. He showed up with a cardboard box.
4?
And I opened it up and there was 4 little chickens in there. And another thing that was awesome about this property was there was an existing chicken coop, which is the same one that we still have with a few small modifications. So I knew nothing about chickens. As much as I didn't know anything about growing food, I knew even less about chickens. I literally did not know what to do.
No.
So we got to work. The only thing we could think of doing was the chicken coop hadn't been used for a while before, like by the previous owners. Yeah, she hadn't used it. So the whole run and area needed a lot of maintenance and cleaning up, and mowing the lawns, getting all the stuff out of there so the chickens could move around. And I think there was some hay in there at the time. So
no, the grass was just this.
No, I mean inside the coop.
Oh yeah,
there was some old hay in there, so I just stuck the chickens in there, and we had a little mishap. Okay. Here we.
Clyde, Bob.
Babe, this is a.
Oh shit.
Yeah, Jojo had to have his.
We were trying to introduce them, and total rookies did it wrong and lost one chicken right off the bat. Pretty sure that was Rooster, so it might have done us a favor. I still have 3 of those chickens, and one of them is our rooster poke.
Mm-hmm.
He is the original. The other one is Brindle, the brown one, and the third one is Indy. So, yeah, we've kind of come a very long way with
Yeah,
chickens.
they're OGs.
Those are the OGs. They've been through a lot.
Crazy.
Yeah, we've got big plans for the chicken coop as well. Hopefully this year, 2024.
Yeah, we'll get a new coop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Uh,
We've learned a lot with what we need. It's a good thing that we didn't build a chicken coop right off the bat, to be honest, because we've been through a lot with the chickens, how many chickens we have, how the needs that they need. When we hatch out chicks, like there's all kinds of things that now we know what we can incorporate into the new coop that we want to build.
I just want it to be taller because I have to hunch.
Yeah.
That's part of the reason I have bad posture.
One of the things is we need to be able to stand up in it. That's the number one. Yeah. We need a maternity ward. We need all kinds of things.
Brooder
We
station.
need a brooding station. The nesting boxes, you put new nesting boxes in there, which is great. Those weren't in there before. And yeah, now we have
The
20
insulation, yeah.
chickens. Yeah, we did insulation as
You're
well.
worried about heat, and it was actually necessary. We did receive some criticism because people said it was a waste, but we had very few birds. So the more birds you have, the more heat they produce, the more that they're gonna be fine in colder weather.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we had 4.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, we ended up getting a few more somewhere along the way. I can't remember how that happened, but we had 7 for a while.
Yeah,
And then we ended up getting rid of a couple roosters because they were fighting.
yeah.
Anyhow, long story short,
Yeah.
we ended up getting more in the spring this year
Yeah,
to build up the flock.
and then they started having babies. Well, one of them did.
Now we're at 20.
We have 20 birds.
Mhm.
And I know a lot about chickens. Wow. That worked. That worked.
Yeah,
More than I ever thought I would ever know.
learned a lot about chickens. And then, so on to kind of the next, or no, another summer project we started the very first year was this fire pit. So
This was not here.
yeah, they had a fire pit
Over there
a
somewhere.
little bit closer towards the Hobbit hut. But in our time that we'd spent here in the 6 months before we found the property, we realized we really like having outdoor fires. And when I built this, it was like 42 degrees Celsius, so hot. But we received all the stone for the patio portion. We got all that
Given
gifted,
to us.
yeah, gifted to us. The stone on the face of the actual fire pit was left over from a construction project in Calgary.
Yeah.
The steel was salvaged from the lake house.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we did this for like, I think it was like $400.
Yeah.
Pretty cost effective and
Yeah.
just time.
And it's amazing.
Yeah.
We'll show you some aerial footage here, but James did the slate in the shape of a willow tree. So or a frying pan. A lot of people have said that it looks like a frying pan, which I also like. So we've got the circle around us here, and then there's a walkway that goes to our wood pile just to my left here, and that's the tree trunk.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's really beautiful. There's a big clear cut around us here, so it's just a perfect circle of trees, slightly secluded. It just seemed like the perfect spot for the fire pit, and it definitely was.
Yeah, so that, and then we also in the summer put in the post for the Hobbit hut. That was originally going to be just for wood storage, and now it's turned into a little veggie stand.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a fun project. So
And
that
it's also just a living roof.
mhm,
We ended up adding some grass to the roof of it, so it's a true Hobbit hut now.
mhm. So it's a reciprocal frame, double reciprocal frame roof, which
Yeah.
we've got a couple videos about that out there.
How James built it.
Yeah, and that
He built
actually
it.
ended up taking more like over the course of 16 months because I did a bunch in the winter and then I did the cladding.
Yeah.
It was totally
And he did it all by himself.
yeah, that's true.
No help. And you didn't even use any equipment.
Braden helped me with the
Grass.
grass roof part, yeah, which we did this spring. Yeah.
Which stayed all year. And it will definitely come back again next year.
Yeah.
We borrowed it from the Crown land.
And then spring of, I guess it'd be our first spring out here, so spring of 22.
Mhm.
We knew we wanted to build a big greenhouse in the location of the existing plastic greenhouse.
So we needed to move the plastic greenhouse out of the way or build a temporary greenhouse so we can continue growing while we build the one that we're building right now.
Our geothermal rammed earth greenhouse.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But we are relocating the old greenhouse so that we have a greenhouse to use this year because it's going to take us a whole year, well, at least the whole summer, to build the geothermal greenhouse.
So that's kind of that's kind of how our greenhouses came to be. But yeah, so we did the glass greenhouse and we did that in a very thrifty way.
Yes,
Um,
we did.
Our neighbor gifted us the glass. We found locally sourced wood.
Yeah,
Um,
from Bob's Mill.
yeah,
Yeah.
our buddy Bob there.
Yeah, and then of course James put it all together. and then I grew all the veggies in it all year round. We ate out of that for that first whole summer
Yeah.
and fall.
Yeah, that was very good productive
Mhm.
greenhouse. And it's holding up really well for anybody that's curious.
Yeah, very well. It's not so temporary anymore. That one's sticking
Yeah, it was
around.
going to be temporary, but there's no way we're moving it.
No, it still gets enough sun. It's a little bit pushed over to the side,
Mhm.
um, but it produced quite well for us.
And it'll work well for seedlings in summer and yeah, and it looks nice. It's pretty.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really pretty.
That's one of the things with the greenhouses that we've tried to do is we want it to function well, but also be aesthetically pleasing.
Hmm. Mm. There's a lot of greenhouses out there that are all year round geothermal, and they work.
Yeah.
But our goal is but they're not pretty. They've got, those big IBC totes
Yeah.
that are, the thermal mask for the water along the back. And
Yeah.
we personally understand why people do that, but we don't find it aesthetically pleasing.
We want to find the perfect balance between function and aesthetics.
Yeah.
But more so, you spend so much time in there, and we want it to be able to be like clean and just kind of seamless in how Michelle can spend her time in there.
Yeah.
So I really want it to work well for that. And if it's a space where you're spending so much time, it should just feel good and
Yeah.
not cluttered and messy and yeah.
Mhm.
You want to be
Pipes everywhere
you want to be surrounded by all that life and not anything that's kind of
distracting you.
yeah, more so like yeah, all the parts and pieces you need if we can integrate that in there. But yeah,
Mhm.
the greenhouse is obviously a big thing, and then with the greenhouse came the small garden.
Yeah, we built our first little no-dig garden.
Okay, so behold the before.
Mhm.
All you need is flat ground to start a no-dig garden.
Yeah.
So I used the Charles Dowding method of no-dig, and that worked really, really well for us. James and I put that together, and the first portion of the no-dig garden we did we do that in one weekend as well? I know we did the expansion in one weekend.
No, the expansion took a little longer.
Did it?
Yeah, the garden itself was about a weekend. Yeah, with the post pounder, fencing,
Yeah.
getting materials, and then all the
Bringing
like
in all the compost.
the beds and everything. But no, it was about a weekend. It went pretty quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was late though. Like we started it late. I don't think he actually planted till like
Beginning of June.
yeah, maybe even later.
Hmm.
So everything came in a little bit late, but that year was also dry,
Hmm.
very dry.
I think it was the first week of June. I took little pumpkin seeds, I didn't even pre-sprout them, and I popped them into the ground right here. And within June, July, so 2 months, we have a full-on pumpkin patch.
So was last year.
So that's good though, but that was yeah, that brought us through as far as our growing. And then we expand the coop?
We just did we just did this coop expansion this summer.
Both of them? Yeah, we did both of them.
Both of them. We had to put some more wood on the fire. Where were we?
Oh, so one of the things that we missed, one of the very first things we actually did here is we put down the shale in our driveway.
Ah,
because the driveway was just dirt, and it was. I think we went 45 or 50 days the first year we moved here without rain.
it was so dusty. And then with all the dogs coming in and out of the house, it needed to be done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I did any work outside the property for the first,
Year.
yeah, it was a year. So I stayed, I was pretty lucky. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
We were lucky to,
with your income from your
yeah,
stores,
and
I
we
was,
saved
yeah,
some money.
yeah. But I spent a lot of time. I did renovations in the house. Um,
We painted the whole inside of the house. We redid all of the flooring, did a few little modifications to a few little things.
Just the
Bathroom.
house is close to 40 years old, so it just kind of freshened it up. They had done stuff throughout the years, but we wanted to just put our little touch on it.
New appliances,
Yeah.
toilets, shower heads, all those little things. It was nice.
But yeah, the crush in the shale in the driveway was a big game changer. Just for the dust. Also aesthetics, it just brought a lot of color to the property, really. Different color. And then around trees and just general cleanup, and Michelle's family helped with trimming trees. Her father was relentless with that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Making all the trees fire safe, just getting rid of all the dead branches, sawing them all down, hauling them away, burning them.
yeah. Another big thing we did in the spring of 2022, we got rid of the school bus. We've decided to get rid of the bus. The previous owners are going to actually take it to their new property, which is cool. So,
Yes.
for sure. And the other thing is, I can't even actually stand upright inside of it, and isn't really going to fit into our overall plan for how we want the property to look. I guess it could be painted up nice and everything else, but
Yeah, there's a lot of potential here. It's just not in our wheelhouse right now, pun intended.
that one's stuck like on the old school lever.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Cool. Does anybody else remember getting in a bus and the bus driver had to be like, "Wah?"
I mean, wanna see what I feel, wanna dream, wanna be. I'm a freak, what up? Oh, what up?
Right, that was after, that was all part of cleaning up kind of over by the shed.
Yeah.
Because we were going to do a schoolie with it, but again, I couldn't stand up in there, and we just eventually decided it wasn't a project that we were going to get to in time, and we didn't want to have it on the property.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It was a cool old schoolie, but it needed a lot of work to make it, again, aesthetically pleasing.
I think,
Not a project like we had so many projects that we had to make some cuts. And that
we
was
still
one
have
of
so many
them.
projects.
I know. But that was one that we were like, you had to weigh it out. And so that had to go. And it went back to the original owners. They had requested that if we didn't keep it, that they would get it back. So they got it back.
So in the fall of the summer of 2022, so our second summer, so we just did the greenhouse. We didn't do anything with you're gonna have to edit this, sorry. We did our greenhouse in our garden, and we kind of just enjoyed a bit of our property.
Yeah.
We didn't do any major projects for the rest of that summer. Like I worked on the Hobbit hut a bit.
And garden.
Yeah, and then the fall of 2022, I probably worked more on the Hobbit hut. And then there's a area kind of near the front of our property, and I cleared that out. Was making like a kind of like a landing space area for our mill, our portable sawmill. Did you see all the dirt I made? I need to just get rid of that so that I can spread this out and pack it. Have a good solid base. It's almost like they set the mill up long ways. And then load. I want to build this all up. Unfortunately, I cannot use this. As well as the trailers and just building materials. I also stocked up on some components for the round earth greenhouse, knowing that we were going to build it. I actually really struggled with the design of the round earth greenhouse. That took me a couple months of like,
That's what you were doing.
yeah, I wasn't really sure how I wanted it, so we spent a lot of time researching.
A lot of time.
Birch permaculture is a lot of part of the design, but we haven't. I don't think there's anything out there that's a round earth greenhouse. So a lot of the components of the round earth greenhouse are experimental, and I think it really depends on what climate zone you're in. So we're hoping that this works like a charm. I'm sure it's going to work really well. But yeah, the design took. I've worked a lot on design over the years, and it's almost easier to do it with a client because they have their wants and needs, and then you can just bring stuff to the table. But doing it for yourself,
It was completely from scratch.
yeah, I know it's not like a crazy designed building, but it was still, yeah, it was still somewhat challenging because we were gonna originally do a timber frame. Yeah, timber frame greenhouse. Yeah, we were gonna do all wood frame, and then stumbled upon round earth and fell in love with it.
Yeah, my brother, I think, put that bug in our ear.
He did, yeah. He talked about it, and I just kind of brushed it off. And then I saw it on YouTube, and I saw the aesthetic, and then just went down the rabbit hole. It's a
Got the ball rolling on that.
Yeah.
The gears turning.
yeah. So that back to the clearing kind of landing zone, because I knew that there were some projects coming up for big timbers. So we do have some big timbers over there for storage. That some of it's clients that we have here. Some of it I've purchased.
To use for future. We also have our big, like we get a logging truck full of wood dropped off to heat our home. And that gets dropped off. That was an area for that to be as well. That's flat because James has to go and chainsaw it all into the logs, and then we move it over to where we got our wood splitter. This year we borrowed from our neighbor
Where the new burner is.
And we've been storing the wood behind James's shop there.
Yeah, so once the design was finished once Michelle and I agreed kind of on the design of what the round earth greenhouse was going to look like, we also had to spend some time on how we were going to site it on our property.
Yes, because it's extremely important with an all year round greenhouse and the complete lack of sun that we get here. We're not using solar, but we do need the polycarbonate.
For the south facing, and we wanted it to be true south over magnetic because true south gives you like the best exposure to the sun.
Yeah, the UV. So we spent a lot of time mapping that out. Got the excavator on hand, and this is happening. So right behind us, where we're standing right now, is where the greenhouse is going to go. And we are going to take you through the entire process of start to finish.
It's going to be 44 feet by 30 feet.
Huge.
Yeah, so the hole is going to be a little bigger than that, and we're going to get that marked out. I've already got it pretty much marked out for where it's going, but we're going to put some reference lines down so when we're digging, we know where to go. And we're going to be starting on this beautiful spring day.
Yes.
We did, but that also, so we mapped it out, and I think I actually changed the overall size of the greenhouse based on where we were choosing to put it. We knew the general area.
Yeah.
And then once we pinned that out, I think 3 or 4 times, our good friend Joe had equipment that he brought out that he was really excited to try because it was new to him. So that's when we started to dig the hole in the spring of 2023.
Mm-hmm.
And then
And-
throughout this process too, we were spending time trying to procure all the components, not only components, tools, equipment that we needed to actually move forward with the rammed earth. Being that this is like a new construction method and it's somewhat specialized, but now that I've spent more time doing it, it's a lot simpler. I think my biggest like hesitation with it was the mix. Because we spent time in the spring too, like over the winter we spent time trying to get stuff for that getting smoked up.
Getting the smoke away.
Yeah.
Do you want to move forward?
No. You can B-roll through there. So yeah, we spent time doing the mix, getting bits and pieces for the mix, but I don't know, anytime that you're learning something new with limited information, I did reach out to a few different people for consultation, and it eventually ended up with Clifton Schooley, who we've linked in all of our Rammed Earth videos.
Mm-hmm. As well as Max.
Yeah, as well as Max, who was through Clifton.
Yeah.
But those guys are pretty well educated and experienced in Rammed Earth. I feel I'm pretty experienced up to this point.
Now you are.
Yeah, now. But yeah, definitely can help people through a lot of it.
Yeah.
So, and then we had a bit of a stall, but throughout all these things, I ended up taking on work outside the property, which
You
we have
you built a, how big is that lake house?
4,000.
4,000 square foot lake house.
I designed that one. See that?
Designed and built.
Yeah.
We built castles with our hands, only made of sand.
For a family.
Yeah.
It's right across the lake from where we are now. That was a huge undertaking with a lot of unknowns because James, we're moving to a new province. He doesn't have his
Trade base.
trade base, and finding people to work out here and do good work, which is what James wants, was proved to be quite difficult.
It worked out in the end.
It worked out in the end.
I did end up having a lot of trades come from Calgary. A lot of my really good trades that I knew what to expect and had a high level of quality in their work.
Yeah.
So that's fortunate. And they all enjoyed coming out. They're all excited to come out again. So that, and then the studio project,
Studio project as well, which we have videos on too.
the garage project, and then so that created a bit of like just had management and time and a little bit of delay in getting the greenhouse really moving forward with the round earth greenhouse.
But we were waiting for equipment. So
Yeah.
back to the equipment thing with the rammed earth, we had to get two major pieces of equipment. I'm going to
Three.
say three. So
Yeah.
the pneumatic tamper,
Yeah.
the rammer,
That was the longest wait, which
Yeah.
was unexpected.
yeah, the mixer,
Mixer, which was a pretty big wait, but we had that.
yeah. But we needed everything to get going, to
Yeah.
even start. So because we can't keep still,
Hmm.
and I think just on your weekends when you weren't doing your other projects, we expanded our no dig garden.
So welcome to our garden expansion project that we've been working on for the last week.
Yeah.
It's a no-dig garden with rustic cedar planters, sort of like our raised bed planters in the glass greenhouse.
Yep.
And we started on this because we were taking a break from our geothermal greenhouse
Yeah.
because we're waiting for one piece of equipment that's required to ram the earth.
How many square feet did we do in the expansion? Do you remember?
I want to say it was like 1,500.
Yeah, it was like 3 times the size of the
It's kind of a
original.
weird shape, but it's like 40 by 40, give or take. 40 by 40. So yeah, 1,600 square feet.
It was a lot more
Mm-hmm.
for me to garden. It
Yeah.
was awesome. We grew and grew all this, and again, we put that in late as well. I don't think I even put any seeds in the ground until the middle of June. And we had a phenomenal year.
Mm-hmm.
That was when while James was ramming earth and building the foundation of the geothermal greenhouse, I was getting ready to start a new little business that I've been thinking about since we moved here, and that was to grow and sell my veggies. And unfortunately, we didn't do a lot of filming this past summer. We took a bit of a hiatus, um, but we were really busy and just really focused on growing and expanding what we want to do here on our property for future. And yeah, I made a logo and created a business out of selling veggies that I'm growing here. And I had veggie stands in the Hobbit Hut on the weekends, and we made signs, put them around for people to know when we were open. And we had a great response. Like the community around here absolutely just ate it up and literally ate it up. Like I would sell out of veggies, like bags of lettuce and bags of chard and cucumbers and tomatoes. And I was canning and baking and making all kinds of things. I was so busy and so happy. And yeah, it was awesome. And it was a good taste of what's to come, because part of the reason why we're building this all year round greenhouse is because we want to be able to grow veggies all year round and be able to provide food for not only our community, but communities outside of where we live. Fresh organic vegetables all year round. Nobody is doing that around here that I know of.
No,
So that's another big reason why we're doing what we're doing with the greenhouse.
it makes right now it makes winter not as enjoyable because eating the fresh vegetables
All summer and fall.
into the fall and then having to purchase what they've got at the store, it's kind of depressing a little bit, but we have some good canned stuff left still, so
Yeah. Yeah, I preserve and can as much as I can so that we can have that, but you can't really do a whole lot of that with fresh veggies. I've got a ton of frozen greens and herbs and stuff, frozen and preserved, but you can't beat just going out to the garden and getting a fresh bowl of salad greens and mixing up a salad for dinner. I mean, I think that's your favorite thing that I make.
mhm.
It's awesome. So our goal is absolutely to be able to eat, not just for us, but for our community all year round out of this big greenhouse that we're building.
Yeah, I have a feeling it's gonna not be big enough, but
I know. We're gonna have to build another one. um, as you might be able to tell, I'm not sure, but we in the weather where we live, we're very much socked in and surrounded by mountains, which we absolutely love. Soon as you walk outside the door, it's mountains. But what happens is we have a complete Jekyll and Hyde from summer to winter. So all summer, there's barely a day
mhm,
with a cloud in the sky.
mhm.
It is just sunny and hot and beautiful and absolutely perfect. When the winter comes, after I'd say October's pretty good. November, we start socking in, and then December, January, February,
Mhm,
we are what we like to call socked in.
mhm. Very few days of sun.
Very few days of sun. It's
You get 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there.
yeah, maybe when the sun goes down, you get a couple breaks in the sky, but it's gray. It's hard. It's cold. The snow is beautiful. Having the green pines everywhere is beautiful. But it can be hard on me for sure.
This is probably one of the bigger reasons for building the all year round
That's what I'm
greenhouse.
getting to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we're gonna have like a Mediterranean kind of space that
Mhm.
we can go in, and it's just gonna be a good like mood changer.
Mood changer, vibe lifter.
Yeah, be in a space full of life.
And not just for us, but also for our neighbors and for our community.
Yeah.
To have because I've talked to people around here, and they do suffer like we do in the winter and need just to be surrounded by life, more life. I mean, that's I think the number one motivator for us to be
Mhm.
building this greenhouse,
Mhm.
in my opinion. Secondary to having fresh food all year round.
Yeah, and it gets you like somewhat outside.
Gets you outside. It keeps me busy. It keeps me on my feet. It keeps
Shouldn't
me
be terribly
moving.
cold in there, because if it is, then
We got a problem
we're gonna burn it down, but it won't burn because it's burned.
because it's round earth. Yeah. Yeah. So we've still got big plans. Like we said, we want to do the chicken coop this year. We're going to finish the big geothermal greenhouse this year. Our next plans with Round Earth, after the greenhouse is done and the chicken coop is done, our next big plan is that we want to build a shop with a suite above, um, made out of rammed earth. And that's going to serve a few purposes. That's going to serve the purpose of us being able to have a space for our guests to stay when they come to stay. It could also serve the purpose of potentially being able to rent out an Airbnb for people that might want to come and stay and learn about our greenhouse and learn about chickens and that kind of stuff. But most importantly, the next step after that is we are going to be tearing down the house and we're going to be building our own custom home out of rammed earth, which I am the most excited for. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm excited for the greenhouse. But I think to be able to live in a rammed earth house is just going to be a game changer. So that suite is where we can live while we're building the house, and then James can have a shop below. And that's going to be just at the back end of our property, kind of by where we have the wood burner.
Behind the burner. Yeah.
Behind the burner. So those are a couple of things. We also want to do a pond behind our garden. We have a big piece of our property that's been completely unused.
Yeah, it's kind of like almost a natural spot for a pond already.
It's a bit of a marsh.
Yeah, it's got a little marshy. So
yeah, like we in the spring when the snow melts and the water levels rise, we actually have ducks in there. So it seems like a perfect place to put a pond. We're not going to be disrupting too much of the natural habitat because it is sort of already there. So that's another big thing. We want to do a sauna. We want to do a wood-fired sauna so that we can ease our achy bones after working all day. I want one now, but James, there's too much going on. But yeah, we have huge plans for 2024. We really hope that you've been enjoying our channel. I want to say thank you to all of our devoted fans. You know who you are. You comment on every video and I comment back. We love you so much. Thank you for being with us from the beginning and sticking around and sharing the love and loving what we're doing here. We hope to grow our channel quite exponentially in the next year or two, and get out to as many people as we can to show you what we're doing and how we're living our lives. And if you're watching this and you haven't subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. It really means a lot. It helps. Every single subscription helps us, so we appreciate that. Thank you. James is getting smoked out, so we better say goodbye. But please send us a message, send us a comment, let us know how you feel about what we're doing and what you'd like to see on our channel.
if you're thinking of leaving the city, we can hopefully inspire people to take that step. It's possible.
If we can do it,
Yeah.
anybody can
It's
do
possible and it's worth it.
it.
And
Yeah. You only live once.
yeah.
Okay, thanks for watching.